What's up, fam, and welcome back to another episode of STE Reacts. Today, we're looking at the topic of greenwashing, something I know a little bit about. It's where companies and food labels use some sexy terminology to try and convince you that something's better for you, but there's a lot of BS and a lot of chicanery that goes on with this. So let's learn together what greenwashing is and how you can avoid not being greenwashed. Let's go. 5 types of greenwashing. Okay, there's a lot of types. Let's learn. What is greenwashing?
But firstly, what is greenwashing? Greenwashing is a marketing strategy that creates a false impression about a product's or a company's sustainability efforts. Speaking like on super broad terms. Greenwashing is the unsubstantiated claim that seeks to manipulate customers by implying that something is greener than it actually is.
And greener, in her sense, she's talking a lot here about like environmentally friendly stuff. But also greenwashing is very alive and well in the health space. Like terms like cage-free and pasture-raised. And what do they actually mean? I think we'll find out.
They may use words like green, eco, sustainable, natural. All of these fluffy buzzwords does not mean anything when it comes to marketing, and yet they mean everything. The thing is with these words, you do not need any certifications, any evidence, any proof to call your item green or to call your item or product sustainable. So any company can use these words in any context they see fit, whether or not it's actually true.
That's a good point to just be aware of, that there's actually no regulation around the use of these words. So essentially, you are just having to trust or be dubious, and probably use your own discernment there, but just take that for what it's worth, that just because somebody says something is natural and eco-friendly does not mean that it necessarily is so. You're probably going to require to do a little bit of your own research to find out.
Then we have indirect greenwashing. Indirect greenwashing that a company is using different colors or fonts or any kind of imagery and visual aid to sort of imply sustainability.
Isn't it funny that even it's in the title, greenwashing? Green is always the color that we associate with healthy for some reason, because I guess it reminds us of plants and nature. So like you see in different examples of like a green Coca-Cola, green McDonald's logo. It just must signal something to our kind of like animal brain that, oh, it's green, must be healthy.
Indirect greenwashing, the company or the product is not telling you, hello, I'm sustainable. It lets your brain make the association on its own. Green visuals and aesthetic has become increasingly popular during the last 15 years. Then we have incognito greenwashing. This is something that happens when a big corporation makes a product that is slightly more sustainable than their average line and then dresses up as a small independent company to sell that product. Today, many companies know that it is not super attractive to be a big billion-dollar corporations because many consumers want to support greener businesses or want to support or buy greener goods, and that usually means supporting smaller businesses. So they dress up or make it extremely difficult for you to figure out that they are actually indeed a billion-dollar corporation.
Oh, that's a really interesting point. I think you know, that graph, if you've ever seen it, that all of the brands like Nestle, Coca-Cola, all the way down to the quote-unquote greenwashed healthy brands are all actually owned by a couple of giant corporations. And to use her term, they are dressing up as smaller entities to help people feel better, because people don't want to support big organizations. They want to support this like mom and pop feel. But really, 90% of the market is owned by these big corporations. So they are incognito greenwashing you. Very clever, very sneaky. Are you smarter than a food label? Let's find out.
If you think you're too smart to be fooled into thinking that you're buying a healthy product, I'm about to prove you wrong. I'm going to transform this can of Pringles into a healthy option. First, let's make this Pringle guy look a little bit happier, and I'm going to change the color of the can. Instead of cheddar cheese, this is going to be called farmhouse cheddar, and we're going to change the formula a tiny bit. We're going to add some whole wheat flour to the very end of the ingredients. There's hardly any in there, but when we do that, we can say blended with multigrains. We'll change up the photo to add our grains right in there, and then to make this sound healthier, we can call it Harvest Blends. And now I gotta come clean. I didn't design this. This is a real product. And to be honest, these aren't half bad. but they're not any healthier than Pringles. The ingredients are virtually the same. They contain dried potatoes, corn flour, vegetable oil, cornstarch, and rice flour. Those are the same ingredients in both. The Harvest blends just adds a little bit of whole wheat flour and a little bit of barley flour at the very end of the ingredients, which means that there's hardly any in there at all. The nutrition facts are actually virtually identical. The only difference is these Harvest blend Pringles, they have 1 extra gram of carbs with 1 gram of sugar. And if you think you wouldn't be fooled by this, I was going through the reviews of this product and so many of them mention how this is a healthy option and how they like this versus regular Pringles because this is healthy. My friends, these are just Pringles. They're pretty tasty, but they're just Pringles. They're not any healthier. That's the power of branding.
That is the power of branding. I mean, it's kind of genius, right? If you saw those two products on the shelf side by side, the regular old cheesy or the farmhouse cheddar with multigrain, and you asked 99% of people on the street which one's healthier, they're gonna choose that one, and it's the same product. They've just changed a couple things around, rebranded it, and convinced you that this is the healthier option when it's exactly the bloody same. All the power of branding and marketing. So be careful when you're looking at foods. You gotta actually turn that thing around and look at labels and really take a critical eye.
When you're shopping for new clothes and you see something like this, or this, and especially this, walk away. When I'm in stores and I see those signs that say made with recycled polyester, I get so frustrated because companies are taking advantage of the consumer's wish to do good. And saying something is recycled polyester to get you to feel better about your purchase, make you think that you're doing good for the environment, let me tell you, you're not. And here's why. Recycled polyester is often made from plastic bottles. And recycling bottles is a closed loop system. Bottles can be recycled almost infinitely. But as soon as they're made into polyester, they can never be recycled again and they have to go in a landfill. So these fashion brands, fast fashion or high fashion, whoever's using it, take bottles out of a closed loop system and make it so they can never be recycled just to mislead you into thinking you're doing good for the world. It is completely unethical and do not fall for it.
What an interesting take. I had no idea. And he's right, actually. The sneaky way in which they help lessen the burden on the buyer because the buyer thinks they're doing something good for the planet. Like, why wouldn't I buy the recycled option? Because that's obviously a good thing, right? We're getting rid of plastic, but we're actually creating something that's going to now circulate forever instead of being able to be infinitely recycled. And firstly, I don't think that many people actually realize these toxic fabrics like polyester are recycled materials. Like, you're wearing God knows how many plastic bottles on your body that are leaching the same kinds of dangerous rubbish that they leach into your water, phthalates, microplastics into your body. When they go into your body, they're going to cause all kinds of problems from endocrine disruption to oxidation. It's just not healthy, and it's not better for the environment, obviously.
Let me tell you why this label is massive greenwashing. The big issue with a lot of garments is not the origin of the fibres, it's the composition and the end of life. What? This garment is 52% polyester, tiny bit of wool, tiny bit of elastane, 41% acrylic. Acrylic, by any other name, is plastic. It's derived from petrochemicals, it has low breathability, a short shelf life, and high proneness to pilling and bobbling. That's already bad, but it's not all. If we want to close the loop on clothing production, we need to look at end of life for products. Did you know that fibres can only be recycled singularly? The more fibres there are in a composition, the harder it is to extract and recycle them. That means the only end of life for garments like these is landfill or incineration. You have to vote with your wallet if you want to see change. Avoid plastic. Acrylic, plastic. Nylon, plastic. Polyamide, plastic. Polyester, plastic. Sidebar. This care label says use a laundry bag. That's because it sheds microplastics into the environment every time you wash it. Shop smarter. The fewer fibres per composition, the better end of life for that garment. Plus, avoid synthetic man-made fibres. Spend more, wear more, do more good.
Yeah, crazy. An empowering lens, though. Vote with your dollar. It's what we talk about all the time with food choices, too. These microplastic laden clothes, not good for the environment, not good for your body. You might know the stat now that's pretty commonly touted, which is that the average person is consuming a credit card sized amount of microplastics every single month, which is just insane because we're breathing it in, we're leaching it into our bodies through our clothing, we're drinking it in plastic containers, and maybe even your better for you boxed water. Let's see what this lady has to say.
So is box water better?
Box water surely better, right? It's in cardboard, no?
So is box water better? No, this is greenwashing, and I'll tell you why. So I just checked into our hotel and I saw these, and these drive me crazy. While these cartons look like paper, they're actually a paper, plastic, aluminum blend and made of 25% plastic. And because these are a blend, it's actually near impossible to separate these back out into its original materials, whereas a 100% plastic bottle can much more easily be recycled back into plastic. And about 40% of the country doesn't offer recycling for this material, whereas plastic water bottles are very widely recyclable. The best option, carry a reusable water bottle when you can.
That's kind of crazy and bold from the boxed water company because they're just putting it on their big black letters like boxed water is better, claiming some kind of moral or ethical superiority without letting anybody know that most of the product is still plastic, and because they've blended those two together that now it cannot be recycled, which is sucky as it is. But let's not forget that if it is plastic lined, it's still not better for you either from a health perspective, because all of those same issues with the BPA, the phthalates, and the microplastics still apply. Just buy a bloody glass bottle or something stainless steel that you can refill and try your best to take it with you so you don't have to contribute to this system and damage your health in the process. All right, we're going to Costco.
Here are products at Costco that are greenwashing, meaning that they give the illusion that they're healthy, but when you read the ingredients, they're actually not that great for you. Organic. Jack's Cantina salsa. It has agave syrup in here. Agave is basically high fructose corn syrup. It's really hard on the liver. It's not a great sweetener. Also, you don't want sugar in your salsa. Organic hummus looks great. You look at the back. It's made with sunflower oil, a seed oil. You always want to buy hummus that's made with olive oil. Okay, Harry. Organic, and then you turn around on the back here. First warning sign, look how long that ingredient label is. Not to mention they have canola oil in here, natural flavors. Also has wheat flour in here, which is not great for people who are gluten-free. Just make your own soup at this point, and then you can control the ingredients and just use real food. Bye, Harry. Organic on the front. It has organic expeller pressed sunflower oil, cane sugar, natural flavors, which is not great. Just eat real food.
Just eat real food. I think she's got a point. I think the average person that doesn't know much about food would see organic and assume that just because it has that label, it's healthier. That's without diving into what organic even really means these days and how it's mostly a bought and paid for label. It doesn't mean that they don't use pesticides. It means that they use potentially less harmful ones and more natural ones, but we know why I'm quoting natural, right? The same reason that those things that say natural flavors are greenwash. There's very little natural about it at all. So just because you see organic doesn't mean that it's healthy. Flip that thing over, please, and read the ingredients. If it's got more than a dozen ingredients, it's not food. If it's got things in there you can't pronounce, it's not food. If you see canola oil as the first ingredient, it is not food. It's frankenfood. It looks like food. You can eat it. It's going to give you calories, but the price you are going to pay for that energy is not the kind of build that you're going to want to fuck one day, because it's going to lead to low energy, inflammation, all kinds of stuff. So don't be conned by the organic label. Is it potentially better than non-organic? Well, less glyphosate is probably a good thing, but don't assume that that means that it's a holy grail of a healthy food.
Infused with organic aloe vera in a pack of wipes. Now, a pack of wipes, as we've probably covered before, 25% material, 74% water, and 1% aloe vera. Now, this organic aloe vera takes prime spot on the pack, but it's, it's not against the law, but it's just a bit misleading as a lead for a product. When the other 75%, sorry, when the 25% is plastic, we've got.
Yeah, if it's a plastic, that's sort of playing the heartstrings on. We're doing the right thing here, but
we're still rubbing plastic all over ourselves
and dumping in a landfill.
Yeah,
and dumping it where you are going to use wet wipes. He's talking about this plastic, and where do people use them? On the sensitive bits, on the babies when they're wiping their butt, on orifices where you probably don't want microplastics leaching into. This is even potentially an issue with toilet paper as well, but these wipes, as my Aussie mate said, not good. Get rid of them.
Here are some of my favorite tips to help you avoid being greenwashed. Watch out for unregulated terms that actually don't really mean a lot, like planet conscious or all natural.
It's just funny when you see all natural, it should be a red flag immediately anyway, because things that are all natural don't need to claim it. Do you see an avocado with a 100% all natural sticker on it? Do you see a steak that's like 100% all natural? No, like you know what is all natural. When it comes to all these other things, at least let your spidey senses tingle a little bit and do a bit more investigation before you just trust these labels that we know are not regulated and are just designed to trick you into thinking you're buying something healthy or better for the environment.
Look for third-party verifications to back up the claims that the products are making. Don't be fooled by irrelevant claims when something's made out of plant-based materials but needs thrown out every time, or made out of recycled materials but needs replaced every 30 days. Look for brands that tell the full story with claims that matter, backed by data.
Yeah, good point there. There's always going to be third-party organizations that do testing on this kind of stuff. If you can learn what those are and you can trust those, then look for those labels, because it means that the company that's invested in that product and invested in that certification usually actually gives a crap and has put something on the shelf that is a bit more healthy. So be on the lookout for those.
If you're buying chicken from the grocery store that says it's antibiotic free, there is about a 99% chance that you are being lied to and intentionally misled. Oh, we got a worm. Because 99% of chicken that you can find in a grocery store is grown in a confinement factory setting. And it's impossible to raise a healthy bird in that setting without the use of antibiotics. So these industrialized chicken producers can market their chicken as antibiotic free even if they are pumped full of antibiotics their entire life, up into just a few days before processing.
Wow.
And they are able to do this because they are essentially writing these laws. So if you really want antibiotic-free chicken, you have to see how it's raised, because the only way to do it without the use of drugs is to raise them outside on pasture. Fresh air and fresh pasture every day, and they're not sleeping in their own filth.
That's crazy that the reason they're able to say and make claims like that is because they essentially have and write the rule book, because they own the food system. You know, you've got your Tysons of the world, your Purdue's, your Cargills. They own almost all of the food supply. And because that money buys power, they can use that power to just greenwash you to death and say like, oh yeah, no, don't worry, our chickens are totally antibiotic free. Meanwhile, they've been pumped full of antibiotics from the day they were born because they're not living the natural life that they're intended to live. When I raise chickens, you've got to give them room. You've got to allow them to get out on the grass and eat the bugs and live a life. When you cram thousands upon thousands into these little sheds, open up a window and call it free range, it's deceptive. It's not cool. Nobody wants to be supporting that system with $1. But the people that are willing to pay $10 a dozen for the eggs, thinking they're supporting something even better, might be actually just throwing the money away because of clever marketing and greenwashing terms.
Here's how to spot greenwashing and avoid products that aren't good for you.
The labeling on this one will get you. Right under Welch's, it says family farmer owned. It has fruit on the label. It says protein, but in actuality, it is chock full of refined sugar, including actual sugar and fruit juice concentrates.
Protein's a good one for greenwashing in the health space. All of these like protein snacks, I think consumers and the people that are producing food are becoming aware that people are looking for protein dense snacks, so they're slapping protein on anything now. And it's laughable to see what they can call a protein rich snack. You've got like protein Snickers these days. The whole bar has like 10 grams of protein. That's not a high protein snack, especially when you consider the sheer amount of calories. As a good rule of thumb, like a legitimate high protein snack, you're looking for about 10 grams of protein per 100 to 150 calories total. If you're getting something that's being called a high protein snack and it's got a measly 7 grams of protein in it from some nut butter and it's 300 calories, you have been played, my friend. Yeah, salad dressings might be the worst offender because they make these things look delightful. They use all of the buzzwords, all of the colors. They've got the green, they've got the organic, and you're like, wow, this has to be. Look how fresh this is. Oh, it's even in a nice glass bottle in some cases. Turn it over. First ingredient, soybean oil or canola oil. Woo! Second ingredient starts the laundry list of ingredients that you can't even pronounce, with a little bit of water and some cheese dust flavoring. That is not a health food, my friends. Olive oil, vinegar, butter, those are your dressings, okay?
So you're at Sprouts and look at something like this thinking that looks healthy. It's a powerful plant-derived ingredients for clean home and clean planet. And look, it has a...
Yeah, that's got it all on the biodegradable, plant-based. I think a lot of greenwashing, and this is one we probably think about less, is in the laundry and skincare realm. with terms like this, you're like, oh, it's a plant-based laundry detergent that I can wash my clothes with. That's going to be great. Not saying that there's all of these fragrances that can disrupt your endocrine system. Similarly with body washes and soaps, anything that's got a strong scent, a lotion, a potion is probably not meant for you. There are great natural alternatives. You can use things like tallow soap or lard-based soap. If you want deodorants, you don't do the heavy metal laden sprays that's going to blast your armpits with aluminum, or the rub-on sticks that has God knows what in them. You can use even simple things like baking soda. But be careful even in those places, because there's going to be quote unquote healthier options like Native that greenwash the heck out of a product and have everybody buying it thinking they're doing a better choice, when in reality they're getting something that's more expensive and maybe a fraction less harmful, but is still junk.
Do you know what those stickers on your fruit mean? A number 9 sticker means that the fruit or produce was grown organically. A number 4 sticker indicates that the fruit or veggie was grown conventionally, has pesticides and herbicides. A number 8 label means that the fruit or veggie is genetically modified. So now you're informed, so now you know how to make the right choices when you're at the market.
Well, that's interesting. Know your labels. Look at your labels. Or even better still, I get it, convenience, supermarkets, go to the organic section. That's all well and good. But where possible, take it one step further. Go and shake the hand that feeds you. Go to the local farmer's market. Buy what's local and in season. You can actually look the person in the eye. You can ask them directly. And you shouldn't be shy about asking them either. Hey, do you use pesticides? If so, which ones? Do you use glyphosate? And if they give you, well, yes, we do. We have to control crops. Now you have informed consent. Now you can choose to honor your own boundaries and walk away from that. But at least you know what you're getting yourself into, and you're shortening the supply chain and lines on where your food is coming from, which is another part what we're really talking about today. If we're talking about greenwashing, which is people want to have a healthier product that's less harmful on the environment. And I think you can do that quite simply by shopping local, shaking the hand that feeds you, getting into the farmer's market and doing that as much as you possibly can. You're going to have a healthier product, a healthier planet, and you're going to be able to support the people that help your communities thrive. And I think that's a win-win-win. Here's our friend. We've seen her before. She always makes a couple of great points. Let's see what she has to say on greenwashing.
So grass-fed, obviously, moving more into the larger animals, but grass-fed.
Yeah. So grass-fed really just means that the cow was given, or the animal, the larger animal, was fed on grass or forage for a part of their life. What you see, and this was probably as prevalent, or this was more prevalent about 3 to 4 years ago when the whole grass-fed movement was really starting to capture a foothold here, is that grass-fed just meant that they spent part of their life on grass or forage. But what it didn't identify is what happened, for the last, let's just say 90 to 120 days of their life. And this is where things get a little wonky, right? Is we actually spoke to a rancher in Wyoming who opened up a USDA certified processing facility, which we just acquired, for this very reason.
Slide that in there.
Just slide that in there.
We just bought
it. He bought this facility for this reason. He was grass feeding, open range his cows. He spent a lot of time really nurturing these animals, right? It wasn't just a commodity. It was something that he was passionate about. And he got really sick of taking them to auction and then having those auctioneers purchase them, usually for a lot less than what they were worth. And then for the last, let's say 3 to 6 months of their life, sending them to a feedlot where they were just force-fed corn to fatten them up.
Yeah, so he's talking about the distinction there between grass-fed, which is going to be maybe all cows to a certain degree were grass-fed because they spent the large part of their growing years outside access to grass. But it doesn't tell you what kind of grass. It doesn't tell you the other living conditions. It doesn't tell you whether that grass was sprayed alfalfa. And it does not tell you whether that was grass-fed and finished. So all cows are grass-fed. For how long? 50% of their lives? 60% of their lives? Grass-fed and grass-finished is ideally what you're looking for. And if you want to complete the trifecta, you want grass-fed, grass-finished, and organic, because they could, again, be eating grasses that are sprayed very heavily. And that's going to be partly inside of the animal that you are going to eat. You are not just what you eat. You are what you eat eats. And I think, again, one of the ways in which you could solve the issue at hand here is trying to support your local ranchers where possible. Go in with friends, buy a half cow, buy a shirt, and ask the farmer questions about how it's raised. But if you are confined to the supermarket, look for grass-fed and finished, look for USA, and look for organic. That will help you know that you're getting a healthy animal that had a good life, the way nature intended. So there you have it, folks. Greenwashing is everywhere. It's in your food, it's on your water bottles, it's on your skincare products, it's on your bloody bed sheets, for goodness sake. You have to be very aware and take a critical eye, read the labels, research the companies, or even better yet, just break out of the system, disconnect from the matrix, shop local, make your own things. Just get creative. Put the hands back into the power of the people that are feeding you and keeping you healthy. Keep it local, keep it real, and you can't go far wrong. And we'll see you next time.